Okay, I'm counting down my top 10 favorite Phineas and Ferb episodes. It's on this list, along with my Spanish homework. 10. Remains of the Platypus. That episode. It's the one where, Perry turns evil. And okay. I love the way it's told. I love the storytelling element. Because it starts off with, like, Doofenshmirtz is in his underwear. Everyone's going crazy. Lightning everywhere. Lil Sol and the Buckingham Palace group shows up out of nowhere. Like, Perry's on a wheel, Carl's in a cage, Linda shows up. And we're like, what's happening? And the story's told backwards. And I love that element. It's so good. Cheesetopia, like, what even is that? Like, how do they come up with that? Major Monogram getting bigger, expanding when he has cheese. That's writing genius. This is teriyaki tofu. I'm eating my lunch too. Drinking a smoothie. Also. But I really like that episode. I like Perry in the little butler's outfit. Carl in the squirrel costume. Squirrel Con? How did they come up with these ideas? Number 9 is Skiddley Whiffers. I love this episode because, okay, when it first came out, I was a child, and I just remember it so vividly. It held this, like, nostalgic element to it, so I put it in number 9, because it's not, like, the best. It's kind of boring. It's, like, kind of a boring plot, but I put it 9th because of nostalgic purposes. I have such a connection. Like, I have a deep connection to this episode. It starts off with, like, the Skiddley Whiffers theme song. If you don't have a copy, you're gonna be ostracized. Like, that's genius writing. I love the way they animated the theme for Skiddley Whiffers too, because it's like this nostalgic, old-timey kind of, like, animation, and I love it. Love the theme song. It's just kind of boring because Candace isn't really doing anything to stop it. They don't build, like, they make Danville the Skiddley Whiffers board, which, like, they only build the moving pieces which move around, so it's kind of boring. Candace plays, Baljeet is the unicorn. He's like, this unicorn should be pink, not yellow. That's perfect. Ferb is the nose. Buford has a monocle. Like, I love that episode, but it's mainly just nostalgic purposes. It's a good episode, though, and I really like it. I don't know the Doof subplot, though. I'd have to really think about that. Because, yeah, all I really know is that their machine doesn't get stopped by Doof at the end. It gets stopped because the dice gets thrown in it. It's move all pieces. But I really like it. I guess I really like the episodes where Candace isn't trying to bust her brothers. Okay, so 8 is We Call It Maze. The Maze episode. I love the Maze episode. It's also nostalgic in my head because I remember it so vividly. I love the little girl. I love that they mention Candace getting 50 patches in one day, because the continuation, they don't just drop plots. The creators of Phineas and Ferb keep them going. Except, they say Candace is allergic to dairy, but in the episode Moon Farm, she has ice cream to share with Jeremy. They could have made it lactose intolerant. They could have made it dairy free for her. But also, like, isn't that sorbet? So, I don't know. But we call it Maze. Amazing episode. I love the Maze universe. I love the theme song. It's not theme song, the song for the episode. It's so much fun not knowing where you're going. I love all the little trials they have to go through. I love, like, when the song goes and you see Ferb, Baljeet, Phineas, and Buford go through all these tests, and it's so Ferb heavy. I love that. I love when the jelly bean part comes on, and they're like, how many jelly beans are in the jar? And Buford's like, just eats them all and puts in 0, and that's correct, because, like, that's genius writing. I love the shoelaces, like, clever. Doof is in space, I think. Doesn't he have the tiltonator? Yeah, he has the tiltonator. It sets off. It hits the maze, and then it goes rolling. And the boys have to escape, and they escape before they fall off a cliff. And that whole episode, the joke about the broken echo, like, Buford at the end says that he never got my metaphor cheese, and then it goes like cheese, wombat, cheese, like, perfect. Doofenshmirtz. I don't remember his echo. I just remember the cheese and the wombat. Okay, 7. Let's take a quiz. I switched up my list. We call it Maze at 7, and 8 I had Moon Farm, but then I was like, rewatched Let's Take a Quiz, and Let's Take a Quiz is so much better than Moon Farm. No offense to those Moon Farm fans, but Let's Take a Quiz is another episode where Candace isn't trying to bust her brothers. It's where she sees Jeremy is on TV, and she thinks, like, she can't compare because of the star quality. So she wants to be on TV, and the Fireside Girls are working on their broadcasting patch. So Phineas is like, yeah, we're helping the Fireside Girls out, getting their broadcasting patch. And so Candace is like, let me be on your TV show. Buford kicks Baljeet off the stage, and then it's Buford v. Candace. I love when she's like, makeup, and then, isn't it Ginger? I do not know my Fireside Girls, but she pops up just like, Candace is covered in powder now. I love it. I love that Jeremy doesn't care if Candace is ugly or not, because he just loves her. And that's true love. Because at the end, she has a branch in her hair, she looks disgusting, but Jeremy's still like, hey. I love all the Ferb outfits. I love that Ferb is the person who stands by the board. That's such a good role for him. Troutfaz, why not? Tony, why not backwards? Like, genius writing. I love that episode. I love the game show. I wish there was more game show. 6, Rollercoaster the musical. This is a special, and it's so good. It's mainly just for the songs. I love the songs. Like, Hey Ferb, I jam out to that at least once a week. I love Hey Ferb. I love all the musical references in Hey Ferb. Like, genius. You're going down? Amazing. I'm convinced Candace has 2 friends just because they need another backup singer for that song. Because Ginny's never really seen in the entire series. So, I'm just convinced. Love Stacy. Love the diversity. Stacy is Japanese. Love it. What You Doin'? Isabella's song. Amazing. Too bad Ferb doesn't get a song. But, like, he doesn't talk. So, what else? Back in Gimmelstump. Love that song. Love Doof Schmertz. Love him. I think I just really like the episode for the songs, not really the plot, because like the plot's already done for. I really like the songs in the first half. Mom, look, I wish it was on Spotify. Because I listen to Phineas and Ferb songs, but only the ones that they have on Spotify, and Mom, look is not on it. And so when I rewatched the episode, I was like, whoa, this is a great song. I love that Candace yells at the cheese. One, because it's a poke at that she's allergic to dairy, so she yells at it because she's upset because she's allergic to dairy. I love the lady that's like, wow, she's really mad at that cheese. It's a great song. Yeah, the songs kind of die out in the second half. Rollercoaster, though, amazing. They speak Spanish. We love a bilingual man, Phineas. I love Rollercoaster. That's a good song. I love how extreme it is. I don't know how they come up with these songs. Like, how do they just keep coming up with them? There's so many in the whole series. I applaud them for having at least one song per episode. Like, I could never do that. Then at the end, Carpe Diem. Amazing song. They got everyone there. They have like everything up to the end of the second season finale. Every character, all the subplots, they have them there during that song. And that song's amazing. They have Kenny Ortega. Amazing too. The running gag that Major Monogram never gets a song. Funny. He never gets a song. Poor Major Monogram. He just wants a song. 5. We're getting into the top 5 here. Tri-State Treasure Boot of Secrets. It's the one where they're at the swap meet. Lawrence is there. They got the whole family. Lawrence, Linda, Candace, Phineas, Ferb. They go to the swap meet. And, aren't they talking about they're talking about the boot horn. I don't know his name. It's like the specific boot horn they're looking for, but they're looking for a boot horn. And then, like, the whole plot is Candace finds, Ducky Momo memorabilia that she doesn't have, and she really wants it. So she goes up to this guy. I don't like that guy she talks to, but she's like, how much for it? Because there's a left-handed pull cord on the Ducky Momo memorabilia, and there's only like 2 of these made in North America. And so she's like, how much for this? And he's like, I really want that rusted baby rattle over there. And she goes up to the rusted baby rattle guy, and he's like, I'm not selling it to you because you're going to sell it to that guy. And then she's like, what do you want? Like, I'll make a trade because this is a swap meet where you can swap. So she goes through this whole sequence where she's getting people stuff that they want just so she can get that left-handed pull cord Ducky Momo memorabilia. Love the swap meet song. But, like, I wish there was a different song in it. Like, I was like, what song is in this episode? I watched it back. It was in the beginning where they introduce the swap meet. But I think it's the Wesley Shivington. That may have been a guy I was in. That was a guy I took a college class with. Never mind. Wesley Scraper? I don't know. But I love the mystery that goes through it. If you aren't watching these episodes, you're really confused on what I'm talking about. But I love the mystery they have to go through. I love them solving all the problems. The only thing I don't love is the ending and how it all was just a movie that they made up. But I do like that Buford and Baljeet were the antagonist. like, in a suit, because that's funny. But, yeah, I liked it up till the aliens part. But it's a good episode. I like the Doof plot. Doof tries to turn himself young again. He does. He succeeds in, just to submit his film, where he wants to be the tri-state area's leader. So, I love that episode. I just really love the swap meet environment. I wish there was more of the swap meet plot instead of the boot scraper plot. But this isn't called Candace. This is called Phineas and Ferb. 4. We're getting in the top 4. Vanessassary Roughness. I love any episode with Vanessa in it. I love Vanessa. She was everyone's gay awakening as a child. Like, she's so hot. She's goth too. Doofenshmirtz has a goth daughter. Vanessassary Roughness. I love it. I love that it starts out with someone catcalling Vanessa, and then Doofenshmirtz zaps him to another dimension where he dies. He just dies. Doofenshmirtz murdered a guy. That isn't talked about enough. Doofenshmirtz killed a man. Well, he deserved it because he hit on a 16-year-old. Like, he's a man that just died. Doofenshmirtz killed him. Not intentionally. You could never trace it back to him, though. In a court, a lot of people would just think Doofenshmirtz is crazy. And since his brother's the mayor, he'd be like, this man's crazy, put him in the penitentiary. I love the store. I love that it's like Costco. I love the supermarket environment. I really love all of these episodes because of their environment. Like, I love the swap meet. I love the maze. Like, I just love those episodes that are centered not at home or in the backyard. I love how they make all the characters interact, but they never run into each other. I love that everyone's looking for the Pizzazium Infinite. How did they even come up with that? I could never. Vanessa's trying to get it. Ferb's falling in love. Like, beautiful. Loki, I want to know the age difference between them. Because, she's 16. There's no confirmed age for Phineas and Ferb. I'd like to think they are 12. I think they are 12, except for in the Act Your Age episode where they're 10 years in the future, and then, like, when they're graduating college, when they're going into college, they're either 18 or 19, so that would make them either 8 or 9 in the series, but I canceled that out. That thought out of my head. But then Vanessa would be 26, dating 18-year-old Ferb, which isn't that bad, but I just think it's funny. But I love Vanessa and Ferb together. But, like, whatever happened to Monty Monogram? Like, I thought he was a cool guy. But we're talking about Vanessa here. We're talking about the store. Linda's looking for 30 pounds of potato salad for the book club. How hungry is this book club? Like, that's so funny. Phineas is completely, like, non-existent in the episode. He's just sitting in a massage chair the whole time. Which is funny. Buford and Baljeet also looking for the Pizzazium Infinite. Candace and Stacy looking for the Pizzazium Infinite. Perry looking for the Pizzazium Infinite. Vanessa looking for the Pizzazium Infinite. I'm really hoping that that's what it is. Otherwise I look stupid. But I love the I'm Me, that song. I love Ferb being the backup guitarist. I love that Ferb just supports Vanessa. Even if he's too young for her, he still supports her, pours all of his love into helping this one girl. He's in the ball pit, searching for the Pizzazium Infinite. Like, Linda's like, Ferb, aren't you a little young? No. He's like, Ferb, aren't you a little old to be playing the ball pit? And he's like, yeah. Love Thomas Brody Sangster. Love him. I just really like the story element. I just like that whole plot. I like that it's about Vanessa. I like that he never ends up actually getting the potassium infinite, and Perry stops him. I love that Perry has to disguise himself, and so he just pulls a bunch of random things off the shelf. He goes into the dressing room. He comes out looking pretty flamboyant, and this one other flamboyant guy is like, "You are looking great, hon." Love that. I love the diversity in the show. It's just a great episode. I love the environment. That's it. I love the store. Top 3. Last Day of Summer, which is expected. Like, the specials do make their way on my list. The Last Day of Summer, I feel like they did such a good job ending off the series. I feel like it's hard to end it off because it was going on for like 8 years. 7-8 years, 2008 to 2015. It was going on for so long. It's so hard to end a series like this, but they did it fantastically. The Last Day of Summer, the song they started off with, I have no idea what it's called. What's Serious Fun? Took me a little minute, but Serious Fun, that's such a good song. I love the joke when they're like, pack a lunch sack, but something small, not that suckling pig. Why does Buford have a suckling pig? I mean, that's expected of Buford, like he can speak French. I'll get to that later. We'll talk about French later. But I feel like it's such a good way to end this series. I love the plot. I love the plot that, like, it keeps going over again. I love Candace and Doofenshmirtz's shared song. I have no idea what it's called. It's something that's like, I'll try again today. I'll get it right today when tomorrow is this morning again. Like, I love the way she sings it. Ashley Tisdale is so talented. How did they have her? Like, they had her sing all these songs. They're all bops. They're amazing. I love the plot. Like, I love the machine. I love their last invention. I love the, let me think in my head. I gotta think. Gotta take a break. I love there's nobody I'd rather go with than you. Be with. Go nowhere with. There's nobody I'd rather go nowhere with than you. I just feel like it's such a fun summer day. I love the repeating time. I love how they go into the space-time continuum, but they make it so logical. It's so hard to write about time travel, but the writers did fantastic. Like, everything's coherent, everything's consistent. Consistent. Back during Rollercoaster the musical, in the background you can see the 2 Candaces. Like, in the background, the 2 older Candaces watching over young Candace to make sure that she got back to trying to bust her brothers. I love the continuality. They do not give up on plots or episodes. I just remember the Skiddley Whiffers Doof plot. I'm sorry, I'm going back to all the way to number 9. He's trying to protect Vanessa from camping. That's it. But guess what? My video cut out. Okay. But I really like the joke that Doof has a whole fire hydrant stuck in his leg. He's like, yeah, last time I went camping, I got this whole fire hydrant stuck in my leg, and you can see it. It's just in his leg. But that really goes to show how much Doof cares about his daughter. Because, like, he doesn't want his daughter to grow up like he did. He was abandoned as a kid. His parents didn't love him. He wants to Vanessa to know that she's loved. He isn't pushing any of his trauma onto her either. He just wants to be a good dad, which he is. They just have conflicting personalities because Doof wants to kind of baby her or, like, treat her like his daughter because he loves having a daughter. He loves having a kid. He did it right. Doofenshmirtz raised his kid right. And it's still good that he's in her life even after the divorce. Also, there's so many jokes about the alimony checks, which I didn't get as a child. There's so many jokes. Like, Doofenshmirtz's like, yeah, I get alimony checks to fund my evil. That's so funny. Charlene must be making bank, though. Like, she lives in a house in the hills. Like, she's making bank. Anyways. So, the last day of summer. I love the space-time continuum thing. I think it's funny that Phineas and Ferb just die, basically. I mean, they don't die, but, like, they get sent to the void. I love how stressful it is, too. Like, you don't know if it's gonna make it or not. And then Candace throws a spoon. I love spoons. I wish they would never... I could not live without them. I just think it's a beautiful episode. The ending song makes me cry. The Time Spent Together song makes me cry. I love that they recap the entire series with a song. I love Doofenshmirtz starts off his part of the song where he's like, I'm 6'2" and I fight a little platypus. Like, I love Perry. Love Perry. What can I say? I just feel like it's such a good way that they wrapped up the series. They could not have done it better. I really like the plot. I love the space-time continuum plot. And I love that they continue that in the next series, Milo Murphy's Law. I love that they continue talking about space and time. I love the time travel stuff. 2, Summer Belongs to You. I love that episode. It's a special. It takes place during the summer solstice. I just rewatched it last night and it's beautiful. I love that episode. It's kind of fast moving. I wish they spent more time in, like, Japan and stuff, but they did. Well, they had to fit into an hour, you know. But there's so much that goes on within that hour. Vanessa's in it. I love Vanessa. I love that they got Clay Aiken and Shaka Khan. Like, they got a stunt singer. That's so funny. I love how when Clay Aiken goes to sing his song, it kind of pans over and you can see Phineas's feet, but it makes it seem like it's Phineas, and then it pans up and it's just Clay Aiken. It's so funny. I love that Shaka Khan just runs in Ferb, her Ferb outfit. That's so funny. Like, Ferb's like, you got Clay Aiken? And he's like, yeah, I hired a stunt singer when Ferb got Shaka Khan. Like, come on. I like it. I love that episode. I love Paris. I love how long they spend in Paris. I hate how they mention when they talk about Jeremy having his own life away from him, and then they're like seeing a teacher at the grocery store. That's so scary. I don't like thinking that other people have their own life. That's it. You know what makes me sad, though? When Vanessa's ranting to Ferb on top of the Eiffel Tower and he steps away to get her a flower because Ferb loves Vanessa, and then Vanessa leaves him and it pans back over and he just pulls up the flower. That's so sad. I cry. I didn't cry as a child, but I cried as a 15-year-old girl. That's so sad, though. The City of Love song, iconic. What can I say? But, like, the Phineas and Isabella plot. Like, that's it. I love how much they sit in Paris. I love that they mention Stacy's cousins, like diversity. I love that Rubber Bands, that song, Baljeet and his uncle in the Himalayas. That's so funny. Klimpaloon, this was the first mention of Klimpaloon, the magical old-timey bathing suit that lives in the Himalayas. Who came up with that? Who on the Phineas and Ferb team came up with the magical old-timey bathing suit that lives in the Himalayas? That's so funny. But Rubber Bands is such a good song. Diversity, too. It's very heavily Indian themed. I just love it. Bouncing Around the World, Love Handle. I'll talk about them later. I gotta hold myself back. But the songs in that, amazing. Summer Belongs to You. Okay, the whole thing. I love that when they crash on that island, the ox, and then Buford lifts the ox like above his head, and he's like, "This is how the ox likes to be lifted." That's so funny. I love Buford. He solves a bug. They paper airplane themselves back to Danville, over 2,000 miles of ocean. How does that even work? How much ox power did they go off of? But I love the road construction thing. I love how they mention it in the beginning and then they mention it at the end too. Continuality. But also, why did they have a whole ditch? Like, they just kept going. They have a whole ditch. The bikes. I love how they mention that too. Buford's like, "Guys, your bikes." I love the get on the trike thing. I love that, like, Phineas yells at Candace to get on the trike. I don't know what episode in it, but it's in another special. I think it's when they save Sunmer. That Buford's like, "Oh," like, Phineas only yells at Candace during our specials, which is funny. I love that they break the fourth wall, but not too much, but they break it a little. Buford speaks French. I love that joke. But also when they're in France, Baljeet tries to yell at the French guy. Like, I don't get why people do that when they don't understand you. You, like, yell to see if they can hear you better, but they still don't understand you. Buford speaks perfect French. I love that. I love that they continue to explore later down the road. Continuality. They're so good at continuality. I love that Jeremy and Candace kiss at the end. I love Summer Belongs to You, the song. It makes me cry. I love that song. I love how Phineas and Isabella during that song, they're holding hands and, like, dancing together. That's so sweet. They have such a sweet romance. Even though Phineas is completely clueless. But I love how they're all, like, celebrating at the end. They're just celebrating that they made it home, which is beautiful. I love Summer Belongs to You. It's such a good episode. And, like, it wasn't even for anything. They just made it because they felt like it. Like, amazing. Like, show-stopping, breathtaking, phenomenal. But number one, you want to know what it is? Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together. That's my number one. Like, don't come at me. I love that episode. That's my favorite Phineas and Ferb episode is Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together. Which, when I first started making this list, in my head, I was like, number one's Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together. But I didn't want to say it just to be sure, but I put it at number one anyways. Because that was my gut was telling me. Dude, We're Getting the Band Back Together. Perfect. It was the first season. They just pulled out all the stops. They got that guy from Bowling for Soup. I'm so sorry, I don't know his name. But then, like, Love Handle. They formed Love Handle at the beginning of the series, and then the Love Handle just kept coming back. I just watched it. I watched it like half an hour ago. I love that episode. They had 5 songs. That's so many for a Phineas and Ferb episode. Fabulous. Amazing. Phenomenal. Everyone loves Fabulous. 2, Ain't Got Rhythm. That's a whole bop. I love Ain't Got Rhythm. That's such a good song. 3, Sing the Blues. it's so underappreciated. No one really cares about it. Like, no one talks about it. It's not as looked at as Fabulous and Ain't Got Rhythm. But I recognize it. It's still there. Sing the Blues is such a good song. I love the story. I love how they go through different genres, too. It's amazing. The range of Danny. Let me think. Bobby Fabulous. I'm thinking about Bobby Fabulous right now. He owns a hair salon. He's kind of a flamboyant guy. Like, I'm not gonna say anything, but you know what I mean. Like, who else would sing Fabulous? I love all the memes that came out of it. Like, Not Yet Ferb came from this episode. It's such a good song. Candace isn't trying to bust her brothers either. She also wasn't doing that in Summer Belongs to You. Or Vanessassary Roughness. Like, I just love that they're all in for helping their dad. Like, trying to, like, celebrate their anniversary. I love that it's about celebrating their anniversary and celebrating their parents getting together. It's so sweet. Snuck your way right into my heart. Amazing song. I cry. I want that played at my wedding. It's such a good song. Then at the end, the post-credit song, or like the during credit song, I don't know. I love that. I love the Doofenshmirtz plot too, because it's about Vanessa, and he's trying to help Vanessa celebrate her 16th birthday party, which is sweet. And I didn't realize that Doofenshmirtz wants Vanessa to have these extravagant birthday parties because he never got any. He celebrated his birthday by himself. And he doesn't want Vanessa to feel the same way, even though he decorates it in all pink when she's goth and with unicorns and firecrackers and stuff. But at the end, he ends up fixing it because he goes into space. Not space. He just explodes on the firecracker. Vanessa and her goth friends, you know. There's so much to say about Dooner getting the band back together. Such a long title, too. It's just beautiful. Like, all the songs. I think it's the songs, too. I love the Song Heavy One episodes. It's so good. It's so good. I think you understand why Dude getting the band back together is such an iconic episode. It's like this staple. It's the forefront of Phineas and Ferb. You watch that episode, you're immediately hooked. Like, anyways. So, I'm gonna go through some honorable mentions, which may make the video pretty long, and my phone may run out of storage, so I may just stop. Deplane, the episode where they make a plane out of paper mache. I love that. I love that episode. It's so good. The song, though, because Ferb sings it and he has the slick back hair and he looks like... I love when that happens. I love that Baljeet's a flight attendant. It's perfect. I just love that episode. My Fair Goalie. I love that episode, but I don't love it enough, you know? I love the nostrils on the bus. That theme song, funny. Football X7, funny. How did they even come up with that? Like, they could play football in, like, 3 dimensions. I love the curse, the emu curse that Ferb has. I love that we get to see the, Ferb's family, with Beckham, Pelly, and Beckham, and Eliza, but her middle name is also Beckham. Football X7. My Fair Goalie is just a good episode, and I just don't really like the Candace plot, because Candace is trying to be a lady, but Jeremy likes Candace for Candace, you know? But also I like that the curse can only be broken by a boy singing, isn't it a high E above F flat? I forget. It's just something that you can make on a piccolo, and I like that they mentioned that Buford has a piccolo. They're just like, Buford, whip out your piccolo. Okay, and the curse can only be broken by a boy wearing a Sunday bonnet, and then Baljeet ends up breaking the curse. It's a great episode. The lemonade stand holds such a nostalgic place in my heart, too. It was going to be in my top 10, but then I was like, no, it's kind of boring, because Stacy... It's not boring, it's just like Stacy and Candace have a fight, and I really don't like that plot. I like that Phineas and Ferb create like such a like an empire of lemonade stands. They take over the whole tri-state area with their lemonade stands. Like, I just love the lemonade stand thing. It's so simple, but they make it better. The paper cuts look like they hurt, though. And, like, the machine gets the paper cut and then squeezes the lemon, and that hurts. Like, I just remember that so vividly from my childhood. Where's Pinky? The episode where, they go into the Tri-State Museum. I love that song. That's the only reason why I had that on my honorable mentions. The Doof Side of the Moon, where they make the tower, the big tower, with, Irving's brother, Albert? Yeah, Albert. I just don't like Albert. He's kind of creepy. He creeps me out. I don't like Albert. But I really like the floors. I like seeing in the tower. I love the tower. I wanted them to explore the tower more, and that's why it's not on my top 10 list, because they didn't explore the tower. I think it's funny that they gave a floor to an office space, and they're like, huh, forgot about that. Like, that's so funny. I love the song, the Floor After Floor song. Anyways, Operation Crumb Cake. Love that episode. It's where Isabella tries to confess to Phineas by sending a letter, but then she's like, I have to get that letter back. Jump Right to It, I think it's from that song. That's such a good song. And I like the episode because Phineas in the B plot is making an art tower out of their old leftovers, which I just love that build. I love that invention. Yeah, that's it. I really like that invention. I like that Ferb is a homie. Ferb knows about Isabella's crush, but he does not say a word until she's ready. Act Your Age. I wish that was on my top 10 list, but it really isn't. I love Act Your Age. It's just like a spin-off episode, kind of. But it's so sad. What might have been makes me cry. But also, Vincent Martella's voice as Phineas is amazing. Like, in that song, What Might Have Been, like, he is such a, I don't know the word, but, like, he sings so gracefully, and it's so beautiful. It's such a good song. It makes me cry. If your man doesn't hold your hair back when you're sick with salmonella, dump him. He's not the one. I love Buford in the Cupid costume. I love Grown Up Ferb. Grown Up Ferb is hot. He talks more too, and he's going to Cambury on it's Camford on Oxbury. I love that joke. That's such a funny joke. But I love that, like, Tri-State State and Danville U. That's funny. But Tri-State State, love that. I just love that they finally get together, because Isabella and Phineas kiss so many times in the show. Like, they kiss in the Star Wars episode, they kiss in the Second Dimension. Like, also, going back to The Last Day of Summer, in the song, the end song, they're like, Isabella kissed me, but I got my mind erased, and then she's like, what? And he's like, you just wait 10 years. That's amazing. But, excuse me. Act Your Age is beautiful. And also, Vanessa's like 26 when he goes for like an 18-year-old Ferb, which is fine. But, like, I'm just saying. They call her Nessa. He's like, hey, Nessa. But that's like the Lake Nose Monster, like Nessie. Which they do find in Phineas and Ferb. Last Train to Bustville, where Candace is on the train and she makes it up the hill. That's beautiful. I love the balloons. I love the hot air balloons. But I really just like the train, and I like that atmosphere. But it wasn't good enough to go in my top 10. And then I already mentioned Moon Farm. Moon Farm was on my top 10. But there's one more episode I want to talk about, and it's that one. I think it was the New Year's episode where they run out of steaks because Doofenshmirtz takes them all. They just run out of steaks, and at the end it just rains steaks. So if someone can tell me that episode, that would be very appreciated. But, like, I just like it because they look for meat and there's no meat anywhere. And then it just rains steaks in the backyard. That's funny. But that's my top 10 Phineas and Ferb episode list if you want to watch it, plus some honorable mentions. And I just love Phineas and Ferb. I think it's a great series. Props to Dan Pavimore and Swampy Marsh for making Phineas and Ferb, because it's such a good show and I love it so much. Even as a 15-year-old, it's been with me since I was 4 years old. It's been with me since I was 4. I grew up to this show, and I still love it in my adolescence, and I hope to like it into my adulthood. But just watch them, Phineas and Ferb, good show. Also, I have a Ferb fan account, and you should follow it on Instagram. It's at Ferb fan account, and you should follow it.